Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Welcome, everybody. It's Becky Brown, and I am joined by the brilliant Dr. Jill Hubbard and the also brilliant Dr. Jim Burns. Hi, you guys.
Hey, Becky.
Becky, good to talk with you. You can say Jill's brilliant. She's more brilliant than me.
Okay, she's brillianter.
She's brillianter.
Listen, I tell you, this is the time of year when there are so many things that are shining in our faces, right? It's December 22nd. The countdown is on. Some of you may have already experienced Christmas because I know some families, it doesn't happen on the 25th. But, this is the most wonderful time of the year. It's the most wonderful time for anxiety and overwhelming feelings and depression and grief and all those things, as well as good tidings of great joy. So I want to turn to you guys. What could you do or what could you say to someone who is struggling with this time of the year? Maybe they've got the to-do list that goes from here to the moon and back, or maybe they've got relatives that are putting too much on them. What kind of encouragement or maybe just some direction, what would you say to somebody who's struggling right now?
I think it's really important to refocus what this is about, because it's so easy to get so caught up in our to-do lists and all the things we either have or don't have, or the losses we've experienced. And we have to keep focused on what the main event is. And so doing things that, it's the 22nd, right? So show up at church. Most churches have multiple, or bigger churches have multiple services, but every church at least has one service. Make your Christmas Eve really about Jesus. And when you get involved in those things, it's a time to just sit and take in and breathe. And the anxiety actually is calmed when you focus on Jesus, right? And when we're frenetic, or we're so upset over all that we've lost, we can't be present. So we need to do some things. Put on the Christmas music, the soft music. And whatever is undone may still be undone, right? And so you have to let some things go and let some expectations go, right? I know both of my parents ended up with COVID right before the holidays here. And so a lot of expectations we're letting go of, right? Mom, it doesn't matter that you don't have gifts for us. Yeah. We're okay with that, right? We'll all be okay. And we're just going to do the things we can do and not the things that we think we ought to do.
I like that. Jim?
Jill, that's good stuff. I was coming into this program feeling anxious because I haven't bought a present yet, and I probably need to do that. It's December 22nd. And yet what you just said was so good. And we need to pray. But, we also need to play. And what I heard you say, and what my thought was, I want to be around people who I can play with and I can laugh with and have fun with. And you know what? Here's my phrase of the year. Does it really matter? Because some things just don't matter. And on December 22nd, there's some things that you may just have to put off. And guess what? Just like with your parents, I'm so sorry they have COVID. At the same time, some things just don't matter right now. And so we have to enjoy each other's company, pray, yes, and also play. And you put those two together, and we're going to have a good Christmas.
That's right. That's right. And Jesus is the reason for the season. And I know Larry Sonnenberg always says Christmas helps him get prepared for Easter and the hope of Christ's resurrection. Yes. And that is the greatest gift that God has given us in the tiny little baby that grows up and gives his life for each and every one of us. That is something that will calm us down if we can focus on it. So if that's something that you're struggling with, give us a call. You can call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE, or if you want to call the show, you can call 1-800-229-3000. We want to help you have a great season celebrating the greatest gift. We'll be right back.
it had become very apparent that some of the things I was involved with were taking over my life.
In today's world, men are barraged with inappropriate content and images all day, every day. Some say that certain behaviors are just no big deal. It's just part of being a guy. But it's simply not true. It's a battleground for every man, and the opportunities to fail are everywhere. New Life's Every Man's Battle workshop can help.
After 7 years, just one weekend, a completely changed man.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle workshop.
He said, I think this is something that every man should go to. Married, dating, it was definitely life-changing.
Now the workshop is coming to Washington, D.C., January 6th through the 8th. Don't wait for him to call. To find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com.
I just can't say enough of what New Life has done for our marriage.
1-800-NEWLIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. If this holiday season has you in a tangle, we have a great way for you to get untangled. In January, we're going to do our Emotional Freedom online workshop, and you can find out more about that at newlife.com, but it could be the thing that gets 2023 off to a great start. And we want to encourage you to participate in that, or maybe share that. I was going to say it might be a good gift for somebody, but maybe it's a gift to yourself. But emotional freedom can make a difference in your life in so many ways. Right now, we're going to talk with Anna, who's calling us from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, listens on Sirius XM. I'm glad you waited, Anna. How can we help you today?
Yes, hi. Well, I just have a question. I have a 15-year-old daughter, and she's in a situation with me and her father where we were never married, but we recently relocated to another state. And she's supposed to go out for visitation for Christmas with her dad. We had some things happen recently, and she has told me she does not want to go. And it puts me in kind of a sticky situation because I understand why she doesn't want to go, and I want to support her. But I also know that if she doesn't go, that it could bring on a lot of problems with maybe him taking us to court, which has been an ongoing theme for years, and causes incredible amounts of anxiety that, are almost debilitating for me. And I'll just tell you what happened really quickly. We had notified her father that we were going to be relocating into a different house that was larger and closer to her school. And when I let him know about that, his new wife, who has been abusive to my daughter, wrote a letter to the landlord. She looked up the address online, found the landlord's information, and sent him a nasty letter about us, making a plethora of allegations that were not true or taken out of context. She also wrote a nasty letter about me to some of my family members that live here in Oklahoma.
So it's a pretty volatile situation.
Yeah. We ended up not being able to move into that house, and it really affected her. She felt extremely hurt that they would do that. I ended up going to court and getting a 2-year protection order against his wife. And after that, he just stopped talking to my daughter. It's been almost 2 months now. He hasn't even bothered to call her on the holidays or anything like that. And she's like, I'm not going. So I just don't know how to support her. I don't know what to do. I don't know.
Anna, at 15... she doesn't have to go. At 14, she doesn't have to go. They get to decide at a certain age. You no longer have to force them. Right? I understand that you're just trying to keep the peace, but I'm not sure there's any peace to be kept with the way this, and I'm not sure why this stepmom is so hostile toward you guys.
She seems to really hate me.
Okay.
For some reason, and I don't know why, other than that I have a child with her husband now.
Right.
And so I feel like a lot of the negativity and anger that's directed towards my daughter is because she just hates me. And when she sees my daughter, she sees me.
So because her husband had a life before her? I mean, because you never married him.
Yeah.
You guys parted.
No.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but she's treating you like you're the other woman, the mistress, or...
Yeah,
So the the big question, though, Anna, the big question is how to support your daughter and how to navigate this kind of new just impasse that you have come up against with her father.
Right. Yeah, and I had thought about maybe reaching out to him and just asking, why haven't you spoken with her? But he's very toxic, and in the past, when I have, in good conscience, reached out and tried to have a conversation with him about what we can navigate together for the best interest of her, it turns into accusations and threats of going back to court, and it's really nasty. And I just like nothing I can do where he'll listen to reason and just try to cooperate. Right. For the next 3 years until she's 18.
And Anna, what would he go back to court for? Would he be trying for custody? Would he be trying to reduce support? What is he most angry about?
Well, when we relocated, he tried to take custody and he didn't get it. And that caused me months of severe anxiety, thinking I would lose my daughter. I think it would probably be like trying to take me to court for contempt because I didn't send her according to the parenting plan visitation that's been laid out.
Okay. Well, likely he would lose on that one if he did do that.
Yeah.
Jim, what do you think?
Yeah. Well, you definitely can't fix his new wife. And sometimes you can't fix a situation. And so in that case, Jill said something just a moment ago where she said, there's a parenting plan, but the truth is that because of her age, she can make that choice. And this is going to sound cruel and hard in some ways, but what I would do is I'd go through the attorney and I would have it documented that your daughter said, I choose not to go. That's not going to, they're still not going to like you. I'll just be honest with you. It's not going to be, that's going to change.
They're invested in not liking you.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's what they're putting their energy in. Yeah. That's, and that's sad because it affects your daughter and affects you, of course, but it also affects your daughter. But one of the things you can do with your attorney is you have a plan, in the plan to say, no, at this age, she's choosing not to go. And even if she said, I don't feel necessarily safe emotionally, something like that. But if she said that, now again, they might come back at you, but now it's documented that wasn't your decision. That's her decision. And as time goes on, she'll develop a relationship with her father. That might change over the years, and hopefully it does. To be honest, and you want this too. I mean, hopefully it does when she becomes an adult. But this doesn't seem like the season. And I see this a lot of times with teenagers. This is not the season where they kind of want that relationship, especially if there's some abusiveness going on from her father's wife. But she's calling the shots.
Well, and I would think I would have your daughter write, just for her benefit, write out why she doesn't want to go, what's transpired, how she feels about the treatment by his wife or by him. So kind of to write out her view on things so that she can articulate what her feelings are about that, and maybe have her read that to you. And that may be something that, anything in writing is admissible in court. So you're not writing for that reason, but have her start by just writing her feelings about the situation. And then if needed, it can be revised for anything
Right.
legal.
If it was going to be sent,
Right.
you might want to edit it just
Right,
in case,
then you
because a
edit it.
15-year-old
But-
might be
yeah.
adding things that
Right, but first, she needs to get those feelings out and be able to articulate what is the reason why she doesn't want to go.
Yeah. And we see this so often. Co-parenting. We hope co-parenting works beautifully. Right. And let's be honest, most time, and sometimes it does. I mean, it's amazing. I see that.
Yeah.
But most of the time it doesn't. So it's us doing the best we can to protect our children, to help our children through the process, and we have to somehow get our own egos out of the way, because it's not going to go well sometimes.
Right.
And in this case, you're not going to be able to fix that woman's anger and hatred. And how sad.
Right. And how long have they been married?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I put her.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. It's all right. I'm going to move. I'm going to keep going. So
how long have they been married, Anna?
I think that they got married in 2017.
Okay. So 5 years.
And prior to that, they had dated for a while.
Okay.
And, at that time, my daughter had reported to me that she had slapped her on the head and pulled her hair on 2 different occasions.
Yeah.
And
I
tried
all
to
of that's
pursue that
reportable
best I could.
too. Anna. Yeah.
But the court basically told me that they didn't believe me, which was kind of devastating. So, I mean, it's just like a long history of stuff. Yeah. My daughter is seeing a counselor.
Good.
And
Great.
I have seen that really help her, because her self-esteem was really in the pits for a while because it was so bad. And recently, since her dad just stopped talking to her, she'll come in. She seems like she wants reaffirmation a lot that I still love her.
Well, sure. Yeah, she's feeling insecure.
Disown me too. And I'm like, no, I would never, ever. You're the most wonderful thing that's ever happened to me. And that isn't just never going to happen.
Right.
Yeah. Well, having a 15-year-old is hard anyway, period. And then you put all this, and there was a move in the middle of it, and things like that.
Right.
So you're dealing with a lot of issues, and so you want to make sure you're getting the help you can too, because that honestly, when a mom has a 15-year-old daughter, period, you need the support and the love, because sometimes that doesn't go well. Now multiply all that's going on, and you'll get through this. I find that women, moms who have these 15-year-old daughters who are going through some of this, they grow up. And they grow up pretty quick. And again, there's going to be some bruises and some bantering that goes on, but stick with her. Show her that you love her with an unfailing love. Take that love that you get from God, pass it to her, and she's going to grow up and be a part of what I call the transitional generation, which means, we inherit the sins of the previous generations from, for the third and fourth generation, but we can make that transition, and we can say, no, we're going to stop this, and we're going to go in a different direction. And your daughter has a chance to do that because you love her so much. So I appreciate your love and care for her.
We're glad you called, Anna. We're going to send you a copy. It's Stacey Sadler's book on single parenting, and I cannot remember the whole title, but I think it will encourage you in these days of challenges. We're going to go to talk to Paul, who's calling us from Whittier, California, and watches us on YouTube, and I'm so grateful for our YouTube family there. If you're watching on YouTube, click like or subscribe so that others will know about us. Enough of a commercial. Paul, how are you, and how can we help you today?
I'm good. I have a question about my marriage. Just this past Saturday, I chose to step away. Me and my wife been married 3 years and 4 months. And coming into our marriage, we both had luggage. And we talked about that luggage, and hers was more physical abuse and a lot of cheating. And mine was basically just financial stuff and a lot of lies with that. So coming into the relationship, we're aware of that those situations in our previous marriages, and we continue to build our relationship and talk and share our differences and how we dealt with things in the past regarding those issues. And long story short, we end up getting married, and going into the marriage was fun. and it still is at times, but I started to notice some things with my wife, a change in her attitude towards her calling me and me missing calls or text messages that she would send me, and I would miss them. And I
Paul?
would question a lot about that. Yes.
Paul, you can hear the music. We're going to go to a break. If you have a question you can ask us, we can be thinking about it over the break.
Okay.
Do you have a question that you want to throw out there so that we can be thinking about it?
Oh, yes, I do. Well, yeah, in the beginning, I don't know if I mentioned it, but I stepped away from our marriage this past Saturday. So I just want to know, am I doing the right thing regarding that choice to step away?
All right. And we will probably have more questions regarding that, but we're glad you called, Paul. Marriage is an adventure. And we sometimes get into really difficult situations, but I think there's a way out. We'll be right back after this.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn from New Life Live, and Chris Williams and I are doing the Emotional Freedom Workshop. I don't know of anybody that wouldn't benefit from emotional freedom. We're all bound or stuck or struggling in some area. What are we going to do there, Chris?
Just really help people get clarity around the places where they're stuck in their life. They sort of circle the same mountain of disappointment over and over and over again. You're going to be able to see that mountain clearly and get to a new place of what we call emotional freedom, which is simply I can feel in the world, build a relationship to it, and know what to do with my experiences.
The New Life Emotional Freedom Online Workshop is Saturday, January 21st. Steve Arterburn, Chris Williams, and Dr. Jackie McHarris will present information on trauma, depression, codependency, and more. And small group leaders will help you process the information you learn. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or register online at newlife.com.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I did go to Take Your Life Back. That's why I continue to support the ministry with the hope that not only am I helping my own situation, that I'm helping others as well.
You can help New Life stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of the 1-Year Bible for Men or the 1-Year Bible for Women. These Bibles combine the best-selling daily Bible reading format with 2-minute daily devotionals written to create a one-of-a-kind devotional Bible that you'll love. There are also ongoing benefits like the monthly Club New Life CD or download, access to the Club New Life video library, quarterly resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. We are talking to Paul, who's having some challenges in his marriage. And Paul, I just want to have a clarification. When you say you stepped away from the marriage last week, what does that mean?
Well, I left our home, and I'm staying with a sister right now.
Okay.
And that's what I mean. I stepped away because I just felt because of the it's been going on for so long, and like I said, it started lightly, and today the accusations they're crazy. I'm just blown away what comes my way, the accusations against me.
Okay.
And I just feel like it's just overwhelming. And there was a time where there was gaps in between that, but for the last almost 7 months, they're just so close together, just coming at me, and I don't know what to do. We went to marriage counseling, and I chose to stop because I really felt that she wasn't presenting the root of everything. It was just more like he yells at me, and he's always angry, and everything was being thrown on me. But I live.
Oh, sorry, Paul. I need some clarification as well. When you talked about your luggage that you both came in with, were you naming things that you both have done or were done to you? Like, was your wife emotionally abusive and a cheater, or did she receive that kind of treatment?
No. My first marriage, it was just financial and lies about finances.
And was that your
was in my
wife's
marriage.
behavior or your behavior?
No, my wife's behavior.
Okay, so your
My
current
wife, my
current
first wife.
wife, was she cheated on?
Yes. And then her marriage, her first marriage, was cheating and physical abuse.
Okay,
in
from her
first
husband.
marriage, yes. Yes.
Okay.
So you guys have both a lot of wounds from previous relationships, and then coming into this relationship, you thought, oh, we can make this work. It was feeling good, and then now we're back to square one because we really didn't get to the source of the pain. Jim, what do you want to start with?
Yeah. Well, Paul, it sounds like you've stepped away, but that you're willing to persevere and work on it if she was willing to do that. Is that right?
Oh, you hit it right on the nose. Yes, and I've explained that to her.
Time out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and I have spoken to my pastor, and he says yes, sometimes that's necessary, and that's what I'm using the time for. Actually, I got a date Wednesday tomorrow to meet with a counselor to help me regarding this matter, and I'm encouraging her to go, but she's not responding. Yeah. And I love my wife. I'm not running to the courthouse over this, but I did step away because I just feel in the home, I feel like we're hindering each other.
Yeah.
And it's very uncomfortable. I feel a lot of friction. I feel like I'm walking on eggshells, and it's not a good situation. It's not healthy, and it's really hurting our marriage.
Yes.
And this is a choice I made. She didn't throw me out, ask me to leave. I chose to leave because it's just overwhelming.
Yeah. Well, I don't think this is the case for every situation, but it sounds like a timeout is a good thing for you. And you're also making a statement to her that I'm not willing to, put up with some of the things that you're throwing at me or whatever. I'm going to give you a phrase. Be ruthlessly honest about your own brokenness. And now I'm going to give you an affirmation. I think you're doing that. You talk to your pastor. You've got an appointment with a counselor. So the good news is that you can't fix her, but you can be ruthlessly honest about your own brokenness, or what you called your luggage. I love that phrase, luggage. But so that's what you can do. Don't expect her to be at the same growth rate as you. But if let's say that she sees you truly changing and working on some things in your own life and dealing with that, guess what? A lot of times the partner, especially if they want this marriage to work. If they don't want the marriage to work, then you're out of luck. But I think she might want this too. Then she comes along. So you take some of those sessions with that person while you're doing the time out. If there's a possibility of you to date your spouse, to have some times where you can still get together. Now again, you'll have to manage how that works. You don't want it to be just a date where then you argue about whatever the thing is.
Right.
Yeah.
But where you can put some positive time and lay a foundation. But when you do that, Paul, share what you've been learning about your own self, and but you can't fix her. So I would stay away from that. Be ruthlessly honest about your own brokenness, and then. My friend Henry Cloud, our friend Henry Cloud, always says, if the tooth is infected, pull it. And what that doesn't mean is you pull the marriage immediately. You pull the tooth. And if there's some things that you can do, then do it. And again, see where it goes. One of the interesting things in research is this, that if a couple will stay together and persevere for 5 years, and that's a long time, I realize, but if you do that, 78% of those people say that their marriage is better off. That doesn't mean that there isn't a timeout. That doesn't mean that there's some brokenness, but that's new, fresh research. That gives us a lot of hope as well.
Well, and Paul, you hear us talk about this all the time. Healing occurs in relationship, and the brokenness that you guys both brought into the marriage is tapping into each other's woundedness. And that's why all of this chaos is kind of happening. I would encourage the two of you to join us at our Intimacy and Marriage Workshop in February, and continue working with a counselor. It's not going to go away on its own. She's probably feeling a lot of pain right now because you're gone, but it doesn't mean that it is over. I love your commitment to the marriage. We'll be back after this.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit its addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. Chris Williams on coaching.
Oftentimes I get asked, what is the difference between therapy and coaching? The biggest difference between the two is that a therapist is going to be looking for a diagnosable mental health condition, whereas a coach is going to look at a particular issue and help a person work through that.
If you need a coach, call New Life today and ask about the New Life Coaching Network. Our coaches have been trained and screened with the same intensive process we use for our network counselors.
If you're looking at an issue in your life that you just kind of want to change, whether it be your weight or leadership or other areas of behavioral patterns, check out coaching. There can be some really, really helpful things for you.
Take control of your life and take action to achieve your goals. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 and talk to us about getting a New Life coach. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. We're finishing up our call with Paul. And Paul, I just was saying to Jim and Jill at the break that, a lot of times when you're in a relationship, I was going to say second relationship, but a lot of times it's just relationships. We have like these heat-seeking missiles that we find people who replicate the problems that we had before because we're used to them. It's tolerated, and it just looks familiar. And I think so many times when we can help couples get healing, it not only heals the relationship, it heals what's broken inside as well. And I think that's really powerful. Before we go, Jill, did you have anything else that you wanted to?
Right. I just want to say it's really good to reflect and ask yourself, how similar are the feelings I'm having now to what I experienced before? It's a different person, the content may be different, but how similar are the feelings? And to look at how much work did we each do before getting remarried, right? And even if you have done work, it doesn't mean you're going to be problem-free, because there's something, all by ourselves, we can be really good. We're good.
Yeah, we're pretty.
Yeah, I've got it figured out. I've dealt with that. And then at the beginning of a relationship, oh, this is so different. Nothing like the previous one. I've really found somebody good, right? And then the more you get into and the closer you get in intimacy, all of a sudden the stuff starts coming up. And it's really easy to blur who this person is. Our new spouse becomes a compilation of all the people in our past that have hurt us. And the fear of, I'm not going to be fooled again. I'm not going to be hurt again, right? And you come out punching and suspicious and all of that. And so that is really important to have addressed, each person individually in therapy and then together as a couple.
Well, we are so glad you called today, Paul. And we're going to send you a copy of How We Love, because that will explain some of the things that we're talking about right here. And I hope that you guys will join us at the Intimacy and Marriage Workshop in Orange County, February, I think it's the 17th through 19th in Orange County. Yeah. And we're looking forward to having a great group. And I know it can help. We've helped so many couples at that workshop. And we just want to encourage you to join us there. Right now, we're going to talk to Sue, who's calling us from Chicago, Illinois, listens to us on the internet. We're so glad you called today. Sue, how can we help you?
Hi there. I have a 38-year-old daughter that's been married. Okay, hi there. Lots of backstory here, but I'm going to try to make it quick. Okay. I have a 38-year-old daughter who's been married for 3 years. She has 2 babies, really, like almost 2 and just 4 months. On Thanksgiving, she and her husband were arguing. He said she was badgering him, and he put his hands on her neck. And Chris, my daughter, will say that he squeezed. He knows what he did was totally wrong, but he is not owning that he squeezed. He said, I reached for you, I grabbed, I did not squeeze. And I say this because I don't know, unless he admits to what my daughter feels happened, they can go forward. She's very intent on that. She's reached out to the abuse hotline and has gotten wonderful support. She's been validated. He knows what he did was 100% wrong, but he's not willing to say that that's what he did. He promises he'll never do it again. He has made arrangements to try to get some help for himself, but he also spends a lot of time talking about her past mental illness and the fact that they really need to work on the marriage, like the triggers as to what would have caused this. She is very fixated on, I cannot proceed in any way, shape, or form until you admit that this is what you did. So as the mother, I totally am trying to be supportive. I would like their marriage to work. I'd like to do anything I can to support them, but I'm having a hard time because this is kind of where they're having their major problem in agreeing with what happened.
It is a major problem.
It is a major problem. And, again, can they go forward if he's not willing to admit that there was a squeeze?
So, it's interesting.
He's living with his folks. Pardon?
I was going to say, Sue, you said earlier that he is 100% in agreement that he grabbed. Well, I would contend that he's 95%. Or maybe even less. Like what you just asked that's the key. But they're separated now, so she's safe. Was it reported?
Well, they're kind of separated. He is living with his parents who live close by. He has been seeing the children daily, and usually somebody else is there. Okay. My daughter is still fearful. This has been extremely traumatic.
Well, yeah.
His parents that he lives with, just sent me a text today actually saying, you know what, we need to talk about this, we need to resolve this, and we need to move on, because that's the type of people they are. And his mother said, I've known my son for 40 years, he would never do this, so we're almost at a deadlock there. And my daughter is extremely upset that that is the take the mother-in-law would have. Yeah. And it's almost like, you defend.
Right. All right. Well, let's hear what Jim and Jill have to offer. It is a very just tense situation. Jim, let's start with you.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Sue, I appreciate your love and concern. You got to make sure that she's safe. Sometimes this is a process. I wish it wasn't, but the process might be if he's willing to go get the help. He said he was. That in that process, he is willing to then, make the confession that you're hoping for. And sometimes they'll never make that confession, and that's where you're going to have to deal with it. But the process of him going and getting help is a really good thing. Where I would want to speed that thing up, especially here around the holidays, is because, that process may somebody who deals with this on a daily basis, who's an expert on it, can help that man make potentially the kind of confession or get the help that he needs without going through the process. Now you got you and you got his mom, talking about it, and you're not going to probably work this out, to be honest. It's going to have to be somebody on the side. Sometimes it's and we can't expect his mom to always back, somebody else besides him. So you don't want to get in a tit for tat. I would just, as quickly as possible, if I was you all, I would try to get him to get the help that he said he's willing to get. To deal with his anger, whether there was a squeeze or not a squeeze. I mean, that's kind of the big, that question may be resolved and it may not be. And it may be the issue. I mean, is that the hill that you're going to die over? I don't know. But have him get the help.
Jim and Jill, the question about that, is that really the issue? Because I think the bigger issue is the grab, period. Like, I don't understand.
I want to know what led up to that.
Yeah.
How many, have they been fighting? What's been going on? How have they each been feeling? Right? How did they end up in that position? And if he's from a family that just sweeps things under the rug, like this may have been just a reaction in him, and there's a disconnect from what his intent was and what he did, right? He may not realize that he squeezed. And so what all was going on that he felt he needed to reach out and grab her? And now she's jumped into action immediately, which absolutely you don't want to put up with any of this behavior. Has she had any other experiences with this kind of behavior, right?
That's a big, important question.
In terms of her reactivity to it. Yeah. Right? And so I think there's some exploring that needs to be done. And if she could, I get that she says she can't move forward if he doesn't admit it. But I agree with you, Jim. He needs to go through a process. They both need to take a step back and let's look at how did we end up here. Right? And we know domestic abuse is unacceptable.
Exactly.
Okay, hands down.
Putting his hands on her neck was wrong.
Right.
Correct.
And period. Was whether there was a squeeze or not a squeeze.
Right. And did she pull away and so then felt a squeeze?
Right.
There's so many ways to dissect this.
Yeah.
But it's what was going on internally for both of them that they even ended up in that spot.
Yeah.
That is the bigger, more important question.
Right.
Well, and Sue, you can hear the music. We'll come back and we'll talk further about this. But I would like to know the answer to the question you just asked, Jill, about the history. Because a lot of times couples have a history of volatile behavior in their arguments, and then before you know it, then we lay hands on each other, and it's not good ever. But it's what led up to this. Was this part of their relationship before? But also with this tiny baby in the house and the other 2-year-old. It's just there's a lot going on, and we want to help this couple find a way to healing and wholeness for their benefit and their children. We'll be right back.
My husband was involved with a pornography addiction. He was unfaithful. I called the wedding off. He stepped out on the marriage and ended up having a child.
The Restore Workshop is designed for a woman dealing with a man's sexual addiction issues.
My husband is a recovering sex addict. There were strip clubs, other ladies.
If you've been affected by betrayal, an emotional or physical affair, or pornography, the Restore Workshop will equip you with support and tools to help you through.
Restore has empowered me and has given me the tools to work through my anger, work through my pain, work through my confusion, and help me realize that I am worthy.
Being here and being surrounded by people who get it has given me my power back.
The Restore Workshop is coming to Orange County, California, February 24th through the 26th. To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or online at newlife.com.
Thank you, Restore. You have changed my life forever.
Hi, this is Stephen Arterburn from New Life Ministries. We know that Christian counseling changes lives. We hear evidence of that every day.
My relationships with my husband, with my friends, with my family are much richer and deeper and honest. Particularly my relationship with God, I see Him in a more accurate form and begin to trust Him more. There's joy and there's peace because I have the internal tools that I can trust. So it's radically changed my life. I'm just not even the same person.
Our nationwide network of licensed Christian counselors means there is help available near you.
take the leap, jump in, and go for it. It's changed my life completely.
You don't have to be stuck where you are, but you can't really expect to change unless you take action. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. It could be the start of a whole new life for you. Christian counseling works, and we can help. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE today. Someone who cares is always there at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. We are talking to Sue, whose daughter and son-in-law have had a horrific experience. And Sue, I asked you before the break, was this part of their relationship prior to this particular blow-up?
I would say yes, in that I think there's been some conflict regarding his friends going out in the evening once in a while. I think there's maybe been perceived nagging. That particular day was Thanksgiving, and she ended up coming to our home by herself. He joined in later because he was at a football game with friends, and she was very angry about that. And I think there'd been a little bit of drinking, not a lot, but, because they drove. So, and I think they were tired, and I think she just let him have it at the end of the night. Like, I'm very mad that you were with your friends and I had to go separately. And I think he felt maybe she wanted to control him, and I think that just kind of did it. And I think he just blew it because he really felt like, he was being nagged. And that really, I think they do have periods of arguments, and they've tried to work on it, and they have sought their pastor's counsel. And actually this time they both have gone to him separately, and she's been very validated. But this does not come as a surprise as far as the fight. I never thought it would escalate to this.
All right.
At all.
All right. Well, so Jim, I just want you to reiterate what your focus was for this family.
Yeah. The more I think about it, Sue, a lot of times in the process, you get more information. So obviously we don't have all the information. But the process of getting the healing, the process of getting the help brings more healing. And so, for them, again, I would just reiterate that he needs to jump into whatever he was going to do. And actually, your daughter is going to need to do that too. Eventually, they're going to need to talk together about this thing, because he honestly may not think that let's say you're talking about the squeeze, but the squeeze may not be the issue. There may be other issues here. And in the process, that person can help. That's what's good about counsel. Also, dealing with someone who has dealt with these issues, they see it every day, they hear it every day. They can get to a place where there can be some common ground and common communication. But I don't think that you can. I think you can definitely come alongside your daughter and the grandkids, and I think that his parents can do the same with him and grandkids, etc. But the issue is deeper. He's got to run toward getting the help that he needs.
Well, and this could really be a wake up call. Sometimes when things cross the line, even though we don't want that, it's the very thing that says, right? This is not good. And to be able to have a hard boundary there can then be the motivation to get the help.
Oh, it is, and this is when we need help. In your first few years of marriage, they've made 2 babies.
And you mentioned help. New babies, sleep-deprived
69% of men say that their marital satisfaction goes down when they have a baby. They don't want to not have a baby.
That is so true.
And 49% of men are women. So our marital satisfaction goes down. Right at the same time, we're exhausted, we're sleep deprived, and we don't do conflict well.
Well, and men feel displaced, right? Suddenly the children come in and occupy their wife's time. Yeah. Right? And that's not talked about that much.
No. And so it's important for them to work through that whole process. And sometimes when there's an issue like this, and this is a horrible issue, but sometimes when there's an issue like this, you can look back at it 10 years from now and say, wow, we would never have wanted that.
Right.
But that brought us toward intimacy because we had to relearn how to do life together and build a connection in our relationship. Now that we have 2 babies and we've only been married for a short time.
Right. Well,
that's
Sue,
my question though, because can I ask you something about?
Sure.
I guess when she's been back and forth with this domestic abuse hotline, they've talked about a batterer's intervention program. They told her he needs to seek mental health. He is a vet. He was in military.
Okay.
And I'm just amazed. It's almost been 2 weeks, and he had a couple telehealth meetings set up, both of which the technology didn't work. So here it is almost, 2 weeks later, and there's been nothing done. And I didn't know if I can recommend a better avenue to take for him to get some help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I wish he could go in person.
Well, I was going to say we'll connect you with
he
some options there, and and I think Sue, you're right. The house is on fire. We got to call the 911, so it's great. But I would also encourage your daughter to get in face to face with somebody as opposed to just the phone calls. This is a wake up call, like Jim and Jill both have said, and I think that there is hope for a better future. Just hold on, and we will get you connected with some options of counselors in that area. And just, if the audience will pray for this family as well, then we'll send you a copy of How We Love it's going to be part of a bigger story. It's difficult when things are like that, but that's why New Life is here. We're going to listen to a testimony from Steve. Terry, if you'll cue that up.
Steve Arterburn here. Here's what happens when you give. New Life Live has literally changed my life. Coming from an extremely chaotic childhood, my mind was messed up. Although saved, I had many issues that caused me to have challenges as a wife, a mother, a servant of God. But through programs such as New Life Live, I have been introduced to biblical principles that have helped me to grow and to become useful in the kingdom. I truly thank God for New Life. That's what your generosity does.
Grateful because people like Sue can call us because there are so many that are giving through Club New Life, through one-time gifts. And I just want to encourage you, if you want to continue this program, to continue the ministry of New Life, to participate in what we're doing. It really does make a difference. We hear from people all the time of how the program or how a workshop radically changed their life for the better. And just like some of the calls we've had today, people are really in difficult places and we want to be there to serve them. And I know both you, Jill and Jim, you've heard testimonies over the years of what a difference New Life has made in people's lives, and would probably encourage people to participate in the ministry as well.
Oh, absolutely. Especially at the end of the year, it's a time. So much giving and philanthropy is done at the end of the year, and so New Life can be radically help. The beautiful thing is there are testimonies, and I love the testimony that Steve just read, but there's also people who never call or who never have been to a workshop, but they say, hey, my life is transformed. These people have discipled me. And I was talking with somebody not too long ago that said, honestly, I feel discipled by the New Life people like you, Becky, and Jill, and Mylan, and Steve, and Chris, and so many other people, Dr. Alice, so many. And I thought, what a neat experience. They actually called it discipleship, and yet they didn't have a relationship in person. It was just that, year after year they listen, and it's a part of their mental health and spiritual health. That's worth giving to.
I love that. I love that. Well, we are so grateful to be able to do this, and we're grateful for those of you who help us do this. And whether it's by just listening or maybe telling somebody about New Life, because you never know what someone's life, how their life will be impacted by offering them help. And, we are all over the country, but now we're all over the world because you can listen online. You can listen through our app. Our app is free. You can download that. And of course, our YouTube family, like I mentioned earlier today, whatever way it is, we want to get God's truth and transforming counseling principles out to the world because we know that people are struggling. Thank you, Jill, and thank you, Jim, and thank you, listeners. I hope that this Christmas will be a blessing to you. And if you need help, give us a call. We are there for you. 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you. But you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.